Hello everyone, my name is Nikki Lewis. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity to present to the Chamber of Commerce tonight on the possible social and economic implications of climate change. I'll begin by presenting on the local impacts of climate change. The impacts of climate change, such as extreme weather and climate events, as well as changing climate conditions, are being felt by communities across the globe, including right here in West Springfield. Examples of recent climate events and conditions that have occurred in West Springfield, which I'm sure we all remember too well, include the June 2011 tornado, which traveled directly through West Springfield, causing extensive damage to industrial buildings and homes, including the removal of roofs from buildings and structures collapsing. Additionally, 3 lives were lost due to the tornado, and 200 people were treated for injuries. Then later that same year, in October of 2011, which has gained the colloquial term Snowtober, an unexpected, seasonably early snowstorm caused extensive power outages as well as major damages throughout the area, causing most of our residents to be without electricity for over 1 week. Then, throughout 2017 and 2018, we also experienced several periods of high-intensity, short-duration precipitation events that led to localized flooding, causing property damage and roads to become impassable. In acknowledgement of these pressing issues, members of our community have already begun to mobilize to develop strategies that can be used to respond to these challenges, as well as mitigate potential risks. In 2020, a workshop was held between local planning committees, town officials, community members, business stakeholders, and consultants, all with the goal of developing proposed actions to improve the town's resilience to natural and climate-related concerns. In discussions at this workshop, other climate-related impacts that arose from our own community members include the shifts in seasonality of warm and cold temperatures, the increased precipitation and humidity in addition to the flooding that was previously mentioned, urbanization taking over natural features and open spaces, and noticeable shifts in the behaviors and quantity of animal species in the area. These impacts will continue and are even likely to worsen due to future climate change events. For example, according to the North Atlantic Aquatic Connectivity Collaborative, Hampden County may see an increase in average temperatures greater than 6 degrees Fahrenheit by 2100. Increasing temperatures have impacts on human health, such as through increased heat-related illness like heat stroke, as well as increased risk of wildfires and many other impacts. Now we'll take a closer look at the global impacts of climate change. The impacts of climate change currently are and will continue to be felt by all communities and countries across the globe, because human basic needs such as food, water, health, and shelter are all affected by climate. I'll now just focus on a few impacts of climate change in each of the regions of Africa, Asia, and Australia and New Zealand, although I just want to reiterate again that this brief overview doesn't encompass all of the impacts of climate across the globe, let alone in these regions. In Africa, it's estimated that by 2050, more than 350 million people will experience increased water stress due to climate change. In Asia, the glaciers are retreating at a faster rate than has ever been documented in history. The increased rate of melting poses a risk of increased flooding and rock avalanches. This increased flooding from glaciers melting and rising sea levels threatens coastal areas, especially those regions most heavily populated in South and Southeast Asia. In Australia and New Zealand, continued drought and fire caused by global land and sea temperatures increases are projected to continue causing declines in agriculture and forestry production. In regions where drought has been prolonged, it is causing psychological distress, especially for those residents experiencing loss of livelihood and industry. Now that we've touched on how climate change impacts our own community as well as our global community, let's take a look at the local economic impacts of climate change. Climate change poses risks to tourism revenue for seasonal outdoor events. For example, West Springfield is known for the Big E, formerly known as the Eastern States Exposition, which is the 5th largest fair in the country, and which brought over 1.6 million visitors to the town in 2022. While profits from the 2022 fair are not yet available, the 2019 fair had similar attendance of just over 1.6 million visitors and brought in more than $5 million in profit. And that's for the fair alone, not including other economic benefits that come with visitors joining us at our local hotels, restaurants, and so many more wonderful places. Yet rising temperatures and hazardous climate events that are direct effects of climate change could threaten the longevity of major community events such as this. At a state level, Massachusetts has maintained an agricultural economy through farming and forestry. Today, although Massachusetts is ranked 43rd among all states in agricultural production, it ranks 14th in net farm income per farm operation and 4th in net farm income per acre. Farmland covers approximately 14% of the state's land mass. The agricultural industry also employs more than 25,000 Massachusetts residents and produces an annual market value of over $475 million in agricultural goods. However, this industry is being significantly impacted by climate change as the result of rising temperatures, extreme heat, drought, heavy downpours, and more, which all impact livestock health, declines in crop yields and quality, and for communities, their livelihood, sustainable food security, and price stability. Greenhouse gas emissions, which are a component of climate change that has contributed to global temperature increases, have global effects. So the greenhouse gas emissions produced by the United States, for example, don't just affect the United States. They cause temperature increases as well as many other impacts like increased extreme climate events and more, which we've discussed today, in all other countries. These impacts then result in decreased economic growth or even losses, especially in those countries and economies that are the most vulnerable. This map on the right shows the impacts on per capita GDP based on a study of the GDP growth effects of warming, and it demonstrates the inequity that several of the regions which contribute relatively little to climate change are suffering at higher climate damages per capita. Carbon pricing systems exist in some countries but not in others, and in those countries that have systems, they do not always cover all sources of emissions. Further, they're not evenly distributed throughout the world, as can be seen in this chart on the left. This chart shows each region's priced emissions, including implemented and planned carbon pricing as of 2020 as a share of total global emissions. You can see that most recently the majority of carbon pricing is covered by Europe, Asia excluding China, and then a small segment is covered by the US, Canada, and the rest of the world. However, this distribution is misaligned because while Europe has generated 33% of global CO2 emissions since 1850 and China 13%, the US has generated 25% and is covering a much lower percent of global greenhouse gas emissions. Carbon pricing is important because it helps shift the burden for the damage from greenhouse gas emissions back to those who are responsible for it. This method can encourage countries, hopefully like our own, to transform their activities to lower their emissions or continue emitting and paying for them. Thank you all again so much for your time tonight. I look forward to continuing this discussion, and please feel free to come up and ask questions or continue this discussion later this evening.